Now, ever since the sequel trilogy came to a close back in December of 2019, ending the whole Skywalker saga at that point in time, and leaving things off with the Rey Skywalker concept that a lot of fans out there, including myself, really did not approve of, and how Lucasfilm and Disney are, to this day, doubling down on this Rey movie, which, by the way, is all set and planned to begin filming by April of 2024. Keep that in mind, it is happening, and they are aiming for a May of 2026 release date from that December 2025 slot because of the writer's strike. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what's going on here with Daisy Ridley behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm and how she recently got into a bit of trouble with, of course, the Disney higher-ups and her role as Rey in the upcoming film. Now, we know that this movie is going through a very rough patch. Not only is Steven Knight still waiting to begin writing the ending of this thing and some scenes for the middle point of this film that have yet to have been written just yet, the script is not finished because of the writer's strike, which they're hoping that's going to come to a close by this August. Cross your fingers, because this impacts everything, by the way, guys. It shifts everything that you want to see either by Marvel or anything else that's not related to Disney. It's impacting everything, almost. And when we look at Daisy Ridley here, specifically what really happened behind closed doors, a lot of drama happening that's getting very tiring, to be honest, but it is happening behind closed doors. With actress Daisy Ridley getting ready to begin filming the Rey film by April of 24 ahead of its 2026 release date. However, there have been a rise in drama happening behind the scenes related to Daisy Ridley and her character Rey in this film that has led her into quite a bit of trouble. The past week or two, Daisy has been pressing Lucasfilm again and Disney for a drastic pay increase, since, get this, Disney is only paying Ridley half of what she was paid for The Rise of Skywalker. This is due in part that she is considered a supporting character this time around, where she will be a Jedi Master training new Jedi characters that will serve as the true main character. Disney does not want to cave and supply that pay increase, as they are limiting the budget sharply with this movie. The second crucial thing about this development is that Daisy is demanding for John Boyega to return as Finn in the way he was supposed to be presented in the sequels, as a Jedi. Disney higher-ups are already considering dropping Ridley if she persists with these demands of a pay increase, and how John Boyega's character Finn should be written for the Last Jedi for the last tidbits of writing for the script, unlike how they used him horribly in The Last Jedi. So, what's interesting about this, guys, is that Finn as a character had so much potential, I will add, in The Force Awakens, and I'm in agreement with John Boyega of how it was wrong of them to use him as a ruse of who the Jedi really was. I remember John Boyega was blocking a lot of people on Twitter when everyone was saying, "You're not the Jedi, you're not the Jedi," stuff like that. He got very, emotional about that, and he went on a blockchain. And I can understand, that emotional response, I guess, but maybe he should have acted more professional than that. But nonetheless, Disney was in the wrong, Boyega was in the right. They shouldn't have used him as a ruse just because of the color of his skin, because that's what Disney was doing, by the way. That's also what Boyega admitted to, of why he hated what Disney did with Finn for The Force Awakens. They were using him, basically, in that regard. So what Daisy is doing here is she is demanding a pay increase for her role as Rey, double the amount, because they are paying her half of what she was paid in The Rise of Skywalker. And that's not asking too much, guys. Daisy just wants to be paid around the same amount that she was paid for Episode 9, and Disney seems like they're cheapoing out on this by slashing that pay in half. Now, get this. This is where things begin to get a little bit more complex. However, writer Steven Knight is said to be in full agreement with Ridley. However, Disney is surprisingly thinking otherwise, and that they already have a backup plan of recasting the role of Rey if Daisy continues to cause issues with the production. The main reason why Daisy is beginning to demand a pay increase all of a sudden is that her supporting role is treated in this movie, get this, like a main role, yet she is being paid on the status of a supporting role, which Ridley finds to be extremely unfair. Now, though Ridley will be getting a massive design change in the film so that Disney can pump out new merchandise for Rey Skywalker sales of the character, she will reportedly still be referred to as Rey Skywalker in this movie, regardless, by Sharmeen, the director of course, Mrs. Marvel. Kennedy pushed for that too, to stay in the Rey movie. Disney higher-ups have already warned Daisy they are willing to replace her and drop her if she causes further issues during production. Now, again, to be very, very direct with you guys, this script is not done yet, alright? He's got a little bit more to go, Stephen Knight, and if this writer's strike keeps continuing into the fall, don't be surprised if this dang movie is going to get delayed all the way until 2027. I mean, don't even be surprised about that. Honestly, after a while, it begins to get so unrealistic to the point where it's like, okay, what, are we going to be looking forward to Star Wars movies by 2031 now? Kind of like what they did with Avatar 5? I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, who's thinking that far ahead? They got to think like an audience, and they're not. Us, the audience, the fans, we're not thinking about what's coming out in 2031 or 2028, really, if you think about it. A lot of fans are mostly thinking about what's coming out in 2024 for Marvel, or 2026 for Star Wars at the latest. You know, at the latest. Beyond that, it begins to get a little too distant. So, yeah, I mean, Disney's going through a rough patch now, and they're doing the wrong thing to Daisy Ridley. As much as I don't want this Rey movie to happen, I will be honest. There's always room, though, for, you know, really kind of redeeming the character and redeeming how she could be written. We know that John and Dave are creating a post-Episode 9 series that is still a go to feature and reinvent the Rey character completely by not referring to her as Rey Skywalker and completely changing her background and not making her a Palpatine. That's also still in the cards. But Sharmeen and Stephen Knight, they are doubling down on this Rey Skywalker thing for this movie that takes place 15 whole years after the events of Episode 9. Now, make no mistake, this is still happening. I mean, they've got the cast and the crew still hired for this filming to begin by April of next year. It's going to be here before you know it if they stick to that schedule, you know, I mean, you're going to begin to see a lot of set leaks out there arising because they want to do a lot of on-location shots. They plan to go back to Tatooine. Yes, I know. Again, it's going to get quite tiring. There's been a lot of rumblings that the temple, the new Jedi temple, is going to be based on Tatooine to honor the Skywalker home world. So that's another thing that we've been meaning to talk about. We have more to talk about that later, so stay tuned for that too. But what's interesting about this is how this is why there's been quite a snag too in everything related to Daisy Ridley not talking much about this movie lately and remaining very quiet. That's why she has been radio silent for quite a number of weeks now, and why we haven't been talking much about Daisy Ridley. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of things going on with this film, and this Rey movie, as much as it's not really a Rey movie, it's a New Jedi Order film, if you want to look at it that way. This is what Luke was supposed to do and complete successfully in Legends. What he did, by the way, do in Legends, but it was supposed to be done that way in canon, and they're doing that basically in with the whole Rey thing. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.